Deputy, I now call Deputy Pearse Doherty with 4 minutes.
Tá dhéfhart leis an rúnseo agus bóilm táseart leis an thugadtí ach na céin sin le jeúthar leis an coimhlint idir na rialatha óthaíú foréisne óthaíú an FOI agus óthaíú ag líon in na céine. So I don't object to these motions, and I want to, obviously, this has 2 parts to it, and I want to begin by dealing with the issue of the tax motion, which seeks to resolve the conflict between the FOI rules and the Tax Acts, and we'll discuss this at more detail at committee. And I have no problem at all in allowing this to proceed to committee. It is an interesting point as to where the balance is between taxpayer confidentiality and the right of the public to access information that is deemed by them to be important. My understanding, though, is that this change will allow the Office of the Ombudsman's Information Commissioner to access and assess information that is confidential under tax laws. And that is, in my view, a necessary change, but it is limited to the Information Commissioner, and that is worthy. I have had freedom of information requests refused, where I sought records related to the Department of Finance, for example, in their meetings with Apple at a time when we were in this House changing our own tax code, and a change which actually favoured the company and others to the tunes of billions of euro were discussed. Private meetings which result in changes potentially to our GDP of our country are of a public interest, and the influence of huge countries and huge businesses in a small country means that their business becomes our business. So perhaps that is maybe more appropriate for a discussion for another day, or when it comes to committee. But I believe this motion should open up a wider conversation about how, in very limited circumstances, freedom of information and the notion of taxpayer confidentiality can coexist. On the second issue, which was the first motion that the Minister referred to, I don't object to the motion, as it will require still Dáil resolution, but it's interesting in light of recent legislation, including the Asian Infrastructure Investment Act and this bill, that vigilance is needed to make sure that such expenses to the development banks are always democratically assessed and approved. So I support the recommendation before the House here today.